When it comes to visual effects, there are some things that you just can't fake, and then there are some things that you can fake, but maybe you shouldn't. And so today we're going to be stepping away from the computer to go over 4 things that you can do in camera that will help take your visual effects to the next level. Let's start off with an easy one. Lighting is one of those things that you can fake in post, but it looks a lot better when it's done with real lights during the filming process. Using actual lights will help sell the effect even more because unlike adding fake light in post, real lighting will actually interact with the scene, creating a more natural look. For example, in this shot where Mike is creating an energy ball, by taking my Nanlite Lido Light 5C, setting it to the same color as the energy ball, and increasing the dim setting from 0 to 100, I can make it look like that energy ball is actually emitting light. And to make it more realistic, I can move the light around to get kind of a flickering effect. Now, all I have to do in post is time the energy ball with the increasing of the light's brightness, and we have realistic looking lighting. But this isn't just limited to superpower effects. A lot of lights now come with settings for things like lightning, TV, bad bulb, welding, and more. So you can use this technique for all sorts of practical shots as well. I'll have some of the lights that I use for this linked in the description. Let's take a look at another lighting tip, but this time in the context of green screen work. When most people think of green screens, they think of big studios with giant green screens that you can use to create any world you want, but you don't always have to use a green screen in a studio. In fact, if your final scene is going to take place outside, it's a good idea to actually film outside to get the most accurate result. You can take this even further by making sure to film on a day where the sky conditions will most accurately match the sky conditions of your final scene. So if your scene takes place on a sunny day, film on a sunny day. If it's cloudy, then film on a cloudy day. You get the idea. By the way, the footage that I just comped Mike into, that's from today's sponsor, ArtGrid. Look, if you make videos at any level, there will come a time where you're gonna need a shot that you either don't have the gear or the time to get. And when that happens, you need to turn to stock footage. And if you've been watching my channel, you already know that ArtGrid has a huge selection of high quality story-driven stock footage shot by real filmmakers that you can use in any project you want thanks to their unlimited license. And that ArtGrid is one of the only stock footage sites that gives you access to the raw and log versions of their footage up to 8K resolution, which is super important if you're trying to match that stock footage with the rest of your video. And you probably already know that by signing up using the link in the description of this video, you'll get 2 months free on top of an annual subscription. So the only question is, what are you waiting for? Click that link in the description, sign up for ArtGrid today, and rest easy knowing that you have some of the best stock footage available to help you finish your project. Shadows are another one of those things that you can fake in post, but depending on the scene, you might not want to. In fact, I would go so far as to say that unless you're creating a non-moving shadow over a flat surface, it's better to create the shadow in camera. But how do we create a real shadow in camera? In film and television, you have the ability to create complicated rigs to get what you want, but on a micro or zero budget, you have to get a little creative. In our case, I used a 5-in-1 reflector on a boom pole while standing on a ladder. But if you don't have a 5-in-1 reflector or a boom pole, you can use a cardboard box taped to a broom handle or really anything you can think of. The point is just to have something blocking the light and moving in the same direction as whatever will be blocking the light in the final composition. Keep in mind that if you need a wide shot, you might have to do some object removal, which I covered in a previous video, but this is a good point to give you a bonus tip, which is always film a clean plate. Next, let's talk about wind, which unless you're doing some pretty extensive 3D work, you just can't fake in post, and you can't really forget about it if you want to get a realistic looking scene. So we have to create wind in camera. Now, there are a few different ways to do this. The zero budget version is to wait and film on a windy day, but for less than $100, you can pick up a powerful fan, or in our case, an electric leaf blower. Personally, I like the leaf blower version because if you need to, you can really control the direction and impact area of the wind. I picked mine up for about 60 bucks at Home Depot. I'll have it linked below if you want to check it out. Now, let's talk about water, which is hard enough to simulate when it's something standalone like an ocean or a river, but to simulate someone actually being wet, No thanks. Look, the simple fact is if you're filming a scene where there's any form of fake water and that fake water is interacting with a real actor, you're gonna have to use real water to make your real actor wet. In our case, I created a fake rain scene and had Mike spray me with a hose, which he enjoyed just a little bit too much, but it did make for a more realistic scene. So there you go. Now, these are just a few of the things that you can do to improve your visual effects shots. To see some things that you can do in post, click here, and until next time, don't forget to go out and make stuff. Thanks for watching.